Stadium, and there is the Brazilian lineup, including number 8 Junior, who amazingly at the age of 38 still commands a position in the international team. Otherwise there are a lot of youngsters in there, including 19-year-old Roberto Carlos, who wears number 6. The Uruguayan problem has always been having so many players playing abroad, and only one, number 10 Saraleghi, has returned from his spell in Turin in Italy to take his place in this team, which lacks the likes of Enzo Francescoli and Ruben Sosa. They haven't come back to play. The conditions look to be perfect here. The referee will be Jose Clisaldo. They're calling it a friendly fixture, but rarely has there ever been a friendly meeting between these two sides. So we shall have Brazil against Uruguay for you, coming up after the break. Welcome back to Campina Grande for Brazil against Uruguay, and I'm sure you hardly need telling that Uruguay are in blue and Brazil in the yellow shirts. It's their custom. David Fleet, the Luton Town manager, is alongside me. Brazil unbeaten at home for 7 years, but I'm sure Uruguay are going to present them with quite a test, David.
Yeah, absolutely. The Brazilians have been playing a lot of internal fixtures recently, whereas the Uruguayans have had problems with their football in the last few weeks, and they could well be short of match practice. At the same time, they might relish the fact that they haven't been playing too many games, and they may be bright and breezy. We shall soon see.
So as Brazil attempt to build the first attack down the right-hand side, that was Luis Carlos Vic getting involved. One of the great problems always traditionally for the Uruguayans has been that their home-based players are so few and far between. They have to go and play abroad, where the money is. Many of them, of course, over in Argentina, just across the River Plate, Montevideo. Many of them in Europe, like Francescoli. The early moments of just settling down, really, trying to get the feel and the pace of the game. The referee will be looking out for any blemishes. Usually a couple of free kicks in the early stages, and at least the Uruguayans try to knock the ball around along the ground. As Luis Daluz, who is winning his first cap today, gets involved, and then on the halfway line it's going to come down to Zinho. Turned infield by Ronaldo, tall central defender, 6'1". No stoppage, referee allowing play to go on as Edmundo transferred the ball wide right to Carlos Vink. Here again is Ronaldo. Now progress made through the middle, and this is a nice little piece of one-touch football inside the penalty area. It's given wide on the left foot in the end by number 9 Ever. We're so used in Europe to seeing Careca wearing that shirt. No longer. Ever was the man who got the shot in, and he'd be disappointed with the finish.
Yeah, interesting to see the way they changed the pace of the game as they began to get nearer the box. Then they seemed to listen to pick up the little quick passes between each other, and he screwed his shot at the end of it. He'll be a bit disappointed with that, but that's the way they changed the pace of the game as they sensed that goal towards the edge of the box.
Carlos Alberto very much building a different sort of side here from the one that played in the last World Cup finals, and was rather disappointing, it has to be said, in Italy. But so many of these players are winning only their 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th caps. So the Brazilians always seem to be experimenting, and of course there's no Bebeto in there today, who has been one of their top goal scorers in the last couple of seasons. Starting from the back with Valber, a young player who's just moved from Botafogo to Sao Paulo, who are the hot team of the moment in Brazil. Then lofted by Rai over to that far side, where Valber again knocks it on to Junior. Here is our first sighting of the great Junior at 38 and exemplary professional.
Yeah, looking really sprightly, isn't he? He's a bubbly character, he's had a fantastic career.
That was a good bit of work by Ever, and he's inside the penalty area, kept at bay there with the clearance from Ostalaza. Now it's Zinho. Another 25-year-old from Flamenco, involved twice. Zinho, lovely one-touch football inside the penalty area. Chances here, and here we go for Brazil. Scored by Edmundo, and the samba begins with less than 4 minutes on the clock, and that is a dream start for those Brazilian fans. It was a lovely little build-up inside the penalty area, all one touch. Edmundo on the end of it, his first international goal, and a great moment for him.
Yeah, once again you see that sharp play around, a lovely spin there by Edmundo, so that he got away from his defender to receive that return pass there. Iver and Zinzo involved in that move, but a calm, clean finish, and what a start for Brazil.
Absolutely, I've got to say, Iver has a little bit of a look of Careca, the way he runs, his style, the same sort of build, and he'd be happy with his part in that one.
Yeah, they've got this low body strength, haven't they? Strong lower body, and they've got this power and this brilliant turning ability at close quarters.
So a real test now for the Uruguayans to go one down so early. Oh, that's not a bad effort. Coming in from a distance, it didn't really trouble Gilmar in the Brazilian goal, but at least it showed a willingness to shoot on sight, and sometimes Uruguayan sides in the past, it's been their failure not to have cracked at goal.
Yes, overplay, possibly. The first thoughts are really that the Brazilians are playing with a flat back four, with Ronaldo and Valber playing as two centre-backs together. So we shall see how that evolves as the game goes on.
Played forward by Junior, who's playing on the right side of midfield. Belted up in the air by Daluz. And it's just nodded down by Hugo Guerra, who's a big tall fellow leading the line for Uruguay today. The cross coming over, it was Walter Pelletti who was trying to get in, and the Brazilian who effected the clearance was Ronaldo. Roberto Carlos. Now Zinho, always content to stroke the ball around. That's when the Brazilians at their happiest, when they're given a bit of time and space, and it will be cleared this time by Daluz, who plays for Danubio, one of the better known clubs in Uruguay. But I'm told, David, they don't get very big crowds, do they?
I think they get very small home crowds, only for the biggest of games, as low as 1,000, 1,500.
It really is astonishing that Uruguay have produced so many fine footballers over the year, bearing in mind the domestic problems the game has.
Well, I think it's an incredible country, isn't it? 2.5 million people, and football has saved the country and made it famous, really. It's exported some fantastic players over the years. They've got a marvellous history, and I think apart from beef and soccer, there's very little else that has come out of Uruguay, and it is the whole nation's heartbeat, soccer.
I thought you were going to refer to the Stockport manager Danny Bergara there. We all know him in England, having come from Uruguay. Terrific enthusiast.
Oh, absolutely. I spoke to Danny, and he can give you chapter and verse on these Uruguayans, because he was a very fine player himself in Uruguay before he came to England, and he knows all about the South American scene, and he's done very well in this country too.
He has. He played in Spain too, didn't he? Right, forward go Brazil then. Junior taking a more advanced position that time. So away come Uruguay. This is Jose Garcia, who plays for Nacional, another of the top Uruguayan teams. So again, this is a very young, inexperienced Uruguayan side. Daniel Sanchez and Eber Moas have won 15 and 17 caps respectively, and only Ostelaza has won more than that.
That wasn't such a friendly tackle by Carlos, was it? I think there that you'll see that Pelletti will get close attention this afternoon.
Now it is a misnomer calling this a friendly international, as the first corner was awarded. It's intense, the rivalry intense between these two sides. It's going to be taken by Garcia, winning his first cap. That was a marvellous moment for any player to win your first cap for your country. Wanting to make an impact, he will take the corner kick here. And it wasn't good enough, it was a little bit too flat. Another chance for him now. Garcia's cross. Under no pressure at all. The ball cleared effectively, and then he stuck out a long leg and directed that one into the path of his colleague, and Brazil mounting a quick response. And that wasn't bad work at all. Very effectively done by number 7 Edmundo, the goal scorer, and gets the shot in as well, which is palmed over by Siboldi.
I think we'll see there that he got a slight deflection. Here it goes again. Tremendous effort. But the wonderful thing was Edmundo picked up pace straight away as he sensed the chance of going in on goal.
He had to do it all himself as well. He had quite a long way to go there, carrying the ball before delivering the shot.
Well, it could have been a sensational start because that would have given Brazil a lead, which Uruguay would have found very difficult to come back from so early.
Edmundo only winning his 3rd cap today. He's only 21, comes from Vasco da Gama. Here is Brazil's corner, and at full stretch it's taken by Siboldi, who ought to be a mighty man. He plays for a team called Atlas in Mexico.
Yeah. Well, certainly that save and that confident catch from the corner will give him confidence.
He kept a blank sheet against Argentina recently, so he's obviously a good performer. And it is important for goalkeepers to get a feel of the ball early on, especially when you've let one in.
Absolutely. Next corner we see Brazil. Look at the way the Uruguayans play a zonal marking system to defend the corners. 7 men stretched across the box there, not necessarily picking up Brazilian shirts, but making sure they attack the ball if it comes into their area.
We'll look out for that, and Uruguay already warming up a substitute, Carlos Sanchez, but it's Brazil who lead by a goal to nil. It was Edmundo's goal. This is Roberto Carlos, twice involved. And he was looking for the movement ahead of him, but the Uruguayans getting plenty of bodies around the ball. There's a referee to give him his full name, Jose Clivaldo da Silva Franca, awards this free kick to the Uruguayans. And the player in trouble is Ever. Uruguay's turn to come with Hector Moran. Throw-in taken by Dalus. That's a nice turn. Good little bit of work there by Belletti. Rather overdone. So the free kick given. And Brazil able to bring that ball away with Valber, former Botafogo player. He's now with Sao Paulo, winning his 2nd cap today. Now the tall figure Ronaldo, 27-year-old, who was in the Libertadores accompanying team of Sao Paulo's. And again, they're knocking the ball around confidently. So you tend to do that when you're a goaler.
Yeah, they play a patient game. They want to induce the Uruguayans towards them, of course, and they're too cagey for that. They'll sit back and wait for them and intercept when it gets deeper and then break against them on the counter. They would like the Uruguayans to come and try and pinch the ball, and then they would explode the play and play around them and quicken the pace.
That's what they're trying to do here now, and that's been an intelligent break down the left by Roberto Carlos. It's infield to Zinho. Might try his luck, trying to thread it through, and the breakout is led by Moran. They're getting themselves in a muddle, a bit too many cooks around there. He's a busy little fellow, is this Roberto Carlos. And Junior involved too. He looks a bit more venerable than he used to do, greying hair, beard.
Belletti looks as though he's a player who likes to get involved. He's already had 1 or 2 brushes with Carlos. There he was fighting off Junior.
He was, and the change has been made with Nielsen replacing Ever, so an early substitution. Ever will be bitterly disappointed with that. He had a chance himself early on, laid on the goal for Edmundo, but has now had to give way to Nielsen, number 21. And here come Brazil again. They're looking sprightly at the moment. Valber's ball through, intercepted. And Uruguay do seem to get a lot of men across in a line, and they're just thwarting the Brazilians with that final ball through.
Yeah, look as though they've got a very thorough back line. Of course, 3 of the back 4 players play for the same club side, Danubio. And the 4th player did play for Danubio before being transferred.
That's right.
Moas to Independiente, I believe.
That's right, he's playing his first season with Independiente in Argentina. Picked up just inside his own half by Zinho. He's now with the Palmeiras, and that one through, spotted by the goalkeeper Siboldi. Not an entirely convincing clearance, but he got there.
It was a superb ball through, wasn't it?
That's where a goalkeeper has to be a sweeper these days. Can't really be a shot stopper.
Well, if he sits in, he's going to get back passes, and then he's got to be a good outfield player too, so it's as broad as it's long. He's got to read the game, he's got to be behind that last defender, reading all the time.
Turned back by Ronaldo to Gilmar, the 33-year-old goalkeeper who's missed the last 2 internationals, but restored to this one. Might be a shot coming in here. Took the deflection, but trickles through to Gilmar, who hasn't been troubled as yet. He, like many others, looking forward to a meeting with Barcelona in Tokyo next month. The World Club Championship. Ronaldo, he's a big, tall, imposing looking man. This is one of the shorter fellows, Carlos. Comfortable, sitting on the ball, stroking it around, telling the Uruguayans to come and take it from them. And then the longer ball was aimed at being more piercing. It didn't turn out to be so. But they have it back already.
Uruguay at the moment need to get the ball to Guerra up front.
He's cross laid in, and once more good reactions from Siboldi, coming, reading it, coming from his line in good time, and it's worked out as far as Pelletti. He was actually born in that place, Fray Bentos, that we were talking about. We were talking about beef earlier, David. He was born in Fray Bentos. And that's going to be a free kick for Brazil against Moran, another one who plays over in Argentina with Deportivo Mandiu. Clipped by Valverde. They do like to clip the ball.
There you see a group of 6 Uruguayan players across the field waiting to intercept, leaving Guerra upfield. Across the middle ostensibly it is Ostalaza, Moran and Saralegui. John, I'll rely on your lingual qualities.
We're in trouble then, David. Saralegui is the name. Here's the substitute, Nielsen. He's a big, tall, stringy lad. And then Junior clips it edge of the area, but they do get bodies across. Just look how many blue shirts there were in that picture there.
And then you see the longer ball and the isolation of Guerra chasing for it.
Ooh,
not such a clever back pass either.
No, those are the ones that set the heart flapping for goalkeepers these days. It has speeded up the game, there's no question about it, this new rule. And it's kept the ball in play more often as well.
I think so. Most people thought it would do the reverse of that, of course, that it would be in row X every opportunity. I don't think there's any doubt about it. You see the last 15 minutes of games, players have to be fitter and have to be sharp. A lot of goals were being scored in the last few minutes when players are tiring. And of course it's hard for the officials too, because the linesmen have to keep up with the play, and they run back towards the goalkeeper when the ball is kicked. They can't take any rest because it's whacked straight down the field.
Yep, I know people are divided on it, but I've been a fan, to be quite honest, of this new rule all season. I think it's added something to the game.
The teams that have played it positively have done well. I think if you use the ball from the back and your full-backs split off wide quickly. There we see a tough tackle there.
It was on Saralegui, and this free kick for Uruguay, trying to get themselves back into the game. They have had to rely on the odd sortie, as you said, David, leaving the one man up front, and here he is, Hugo Guerra. He's a willing old workhorse, 26 and then only winning his 4th cap, so he's perhaps a late developer. Getting his chance, of course, in the absence of people like Fonseca and Sosa and one or two of the other European-based players, notably Enzo Francescoli. I used to quite like watching Alzamendi for Uruguay. He was a thoughtful and a bright player, no longer on the international scene. Here come Brazil again with Rai, the younger brother of Socrates. Well, if he went on to be as good as him, I think he'd be rather pleased. He'd be a good player. Acrobatically cleared by Moas. Rai is said to be the best player in Brazil at the moment. He's not seen a lot of him as yet in this game. He scored a hat-trick against Costa Rica recently and has got 7 international goals this year, so he can't be bad. Uruguay still really trying to impose themselves in midfield. We've seen Roberto Carlos and Junior highly involved, and that's where Uruguay have got to try and get a grip. Try and get more of a service going through to Guerra. They have this free kick. Hoisted edge of the area, and I think that was Guerra getting in there. A little back header, but it's run all the way through to Gilmar. Of course, the most recent Brazilian goalkeeper has been Tafarel. So whether Gilmar can keep his place ahead of Tafarel, we shall see. They do tend to turn out two different teams often. It's going to be worked all the way over from Ronaldo through a central channel. Eventually it finds Roberto Carlos. Only 19 years of age, Roberto Carlos, winning his 7th cap today. If they're good enough, it doesn't matter how old or young they are, get them in, seems to be the philosophy. So
Uruguay quite content at the moment to let Brazil play in front of them. They're having the possession, they're making the passes, but because Uruguay aren't chasing the game, there's no question of Brazil hurting them at this moment. They're not getting any shots in for the amount of territorial possession that they're getting.
That's right. In fact, apart from the goal and the earlier chance which came Hervé's way, Brazil haven't created anything really. They might now. Edge of the penalty area, they've got a corner kick. One for them by Edmundo. But all Siboldi has been troubled with really has been crosses that he's had to catch. And you see the Uruguayans will pull everybody back into their penalty area. Luis Cubila's side unbeaten since September 91 when they were beaten by Spain, and they've included in that record a victory against Brazil earlier this year by a goal to nil in Montevideo, so they come in with quite good pedigree.
Yes, and it's a strange thing often in local derbies, and when I say local derbies, international local derbies, such as this South American encounter. Often the quirk of fate is that the away team is the favoured one. The pressure is on the home side. The anticipation is greater for the home side. Brazil are expected to win this one too, particularly when you consider that the Uruguayans haven't been playing for 45 days in their own country because of this strike, and as a result of that, I'm sure that one or two of them might welcome the game, one or two of them might feel a bit ring rusty.
Well, you might expect Junior to be rusty at the age of 38, but he's obviously relishing this match just as much as he has all his previous 80-odd internationals, and he's won the free kick. A bit of fencing going on there involving Guerra and Luis Carlos Vinc, and Carlos is seeing plenty of the ball at the moment. And they push up again, pass the ball around. It's almost like a training session in the sense of you've got to get the ball from us. This might be the opportunity for Uruguay, but it's Brazil's throw-in. But there's an air of keep ball about the game at the moment. Knocked down by Nielsen. And then this is Zinho. And again, Nielsen unable to do much about that, and so Cabrera cleared it. Just like to see a bit more adventure maybe from Uruguay, as here goes Guerra now, and lays it across, and that could have been a dangerous one. It flicked away off the head of the tall Ronaldo, but Guerra looks as though he might be quite a dangerous customer.
Yes, I think he's a player who probably thrive on a service from wide positions, whether Paletti can get forward or Garcia can make tracks down the left and try and get some balls into the box.
Saraleghi's long throw in, and it's going to come back to Saraleghi. Well, if that was a shot, I don't think he'll be too proud of it. I don't think he'll want to talk about that. It's not even going to go for a throw in. we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So this challenge by Vink produces a free kick on the back of Garcia. Still Brazil leading from that early strike by Edmundo, the Vasco da Gama striker. Here it is, and the keeper staying on his line. That might have proved fatal, but as it turned out, Brazil managed to get the ball away. Not very far, and it's surely going to go, well, it should have been transferred back over to that left-hand side of the field. The man who scored the winner for Uruguay back in April when the sides last met, Adrian Paz, has not made it today. He's not fit. So the Uruguayans with a lot of problems. So they would start as second favourites here, and they are one down. Well, we always expect a lot of free kicks in these matches, local rivalry intense, and here's another one. It wasn't a malicious foul at all by Edmundo, just clipping the heel. Free kick. Now there's a chance of some good play, and he's got inside the penalty area, Pelletti, and then I think he might have been caught in two minds almost there. He looked to be in quite a good angle to get a shot in. Then he might, just out of the corner of his eye, have seen a colleague approaching, changed his mind. Maybe not. But whatever it was, it's not led to the equaliser. His partner, Guerra, was in quite a good position as well. But I think he was right to have a go.
He did so well to get round Carlos, and he'd forced himself into a tremendous position there, and really needs to do better than that. But I think he looked up, he wanted to play a square ball with his right foot across the box, and he saw the position crowded, and in the end he decided to come inside and hit it with his left foot, and he's miscued it wide of the post. But that's a good position that he got into.
It was an extraordinary bit of play there. I thought it looked at a pretty awful pass, and it turned out to produce an opening for Brazil, but one which produced nothing. Just signs of Uruguay beginning to be able to push forward a little bit more at the moment, maybe?
Yes, I think they're beginning to squeeze the space just a little bit at the back. I mean, Brazil at the moment, really, apart from the explosion of fine passing which led to the goal, aren't really doing anything to excite. They're not getting down the flanks. I would like to see Carlos get forward to help Zinzo a little bit down on this left-hand side. There's the cross. They might look for Guerra a little bit in the air, because there is a history, a bit of a tradition of Brazilian defences and indeed goalkeepers, and many years ago Gilmar, the namesake, there was always thoughts that he might be, if he had a weakness, it might be in the air. So expect a few balls to go into the box, but I think Uruguay won't be too disappointed. They lost that early goal, but since then, although Brazil have had much possession, they haven't really penetrated.
That's right, that really brought the memory back, Gilmar. And mind you, he did have some great players in front of him in those days. I'm not so sure that there are as many great players around now. Brazilian football just struggling a little bit at the moment. Partly it's said due to the quality of pitches in that country. And yes, nodding forward in that, well, there was a bit of confusion in the Brazilian defence there. Again, it was Guerra creating the problem. He got in with the goalkeeper, Gilmar, not absolutely certain what he was going to do, I don't think.
That's a particular case where the goalkeeper, Gilmar, should have held his ground. The defender's going with Guerra there. There was no need to come. He has to hold his ground and wait and see what develops.
Just talking about the state of Brazilian football, there was a weekend recently where I think it was a programme of 8 matches and it didn't produce a single goal. Every match goalless. That won't pull the crowds in. But it happens, and one of the extraordinary things this season, of course, has been the increasing goal ratio in Italy, where traditionally over the years it's been always tight and defence dominated. No longer the case, it would appear. Hacked away, no other word for that. And then lobbed back up by Deleuze. Well, that's a rather rash challenge, and a little bit of a contretemps, with Ostalaza, the tall figure there, getting a yellow card for it. So that's the first one shown by referee Clivaldo, and that was The moment he did go charging in a bit, he'd no hope of winning the ball.
There's a certain yellow card.
Yes, he cannot argue about that. Ostelaza, who ought to know better, winning his 33rd cap today. Man who scored against England at Wembley 2 years ago, and against West Germany in a 3-3 draw. But that merited the caution he got.
And the captain of the side, of course, who pulls the strings in the middle of the field. But so far it's been a matter of Uruguay being happy to contain Brazil, happy to see them make the passes, mainly in the middle third.
That's Cesar Simpao, and he's there again now. First sign we've had of him really in the centre of midfield. And now he's got to scuttle back as Uruguay show a bit more adventure. They've got men forward. This is Pelletti. Still in possession, Pelletti. Nice little check, and they're going in reverse now. Looks as though there might be something on. They are still here with Jose Garcia. Decided not to try one with the left foot, and then when he tried to lay the ball off for Ostelaza, he contrived to give it away. Junior has brought it out for Brazil. And here is Junior again. Nice ball. Picked up by Edmundo, the goal scorer for Brazil after just 2 minutes. He'll take on the fullback Daniel Sanchez. And Junior is asked to deliver a longer cross this time, and here's a flick header which has carried the ball wide. But that's the best we've seen from Brazil since those early moments, and it was Nielsen who got in with the header. And good work by Junior.
Yeah, good ball in. Edmundo, I thought, took the soft option there when he laid that ball back. He couldn't make progress wide. He knocked it back to Junior. Slightly deeper ball into the box, and Nielsen did well to get across the marker, Moas.
I must say I still have extremely happy memories of watching Junior play in 1982 in Spain, when he was a member of that great side with Zico and Socrates and Falcao and Eder. The names really rolled off the tongue.
A very unlucky side there to go out of that World Cup.
They had one bad day against Italy when Paolo Rossi took advantage.
A magnificent game, no one will ever forget it. Rossi's magnificent hat-trick.
And a great tribute to Junior that he is still playing at the highest level of the game 10 years on.
The movement in that Brazilian side with Socrates and Falcao was stunning. It was a sad day for me personally, I think, when Italy managed to win that game. Nothing against the Italians, and of course they went on in magnificent style to beat the Germans.
And now you feel, I was doing the commentary and I was nearly in tears myself. I so much wanted Brazil to win the final. It was so good.
Well, they epitomised everything that was wonderful about push and run football.
Here we see Brazil pushing and running across the field as far as Valba. It's there again. And now Junior, the man we've just been extolling his virtues, and he's played a nice little ball out here too. And now it's laid forward by Zinho, who looks as though he could be useful with that left-footed. Splendid save by Siboldi from the substitute Nielsen. So twice in the last couple of minutes now we've seen better Brazilian movement, and that was lovely work.
Superb move, a brilliant run behind Dalus there, the fullback. There's Nielsen's header, Sibaldo's fine save. But it was the clever run in the first place behind the fullback, and that left foot cross.
Nice little ball from Zinho.
Yes, a splendid ball. That's the second ball that he's probed through behind the right side of that Uruguayan defence.
Well, this tall chap Nielsen was trying to get in again there, and the ball did come off. I think it came off a Brazilian head. So although very gentlemanly, the ball has been kicked out there by the Uruguayan goalkeeper for Brazil to take another corner. Rather ungentlemanly, it was then left over there for him to go and pick up for the goal kick.
Quite incredibly, really.
He could have been booked for that. He probably would have been in some countries.
But that was really a fine move, and it was a good long deep cross, but delivered quickly. The Pomo position of maximum opportunity, back post.
Anyway,
played early.
Pomo, I must remember that one. That's a new position for me. Well, it's not been without incident. Brazil scoring in the first seconds of the game, almost the first 180 seconds, through Edmundo. Uruguay gently easing themselves into the game, and then Brazil striking twice in the last couple of minutes with good efforts, and Siboldi had to be very alert to keep out that header from Nielsen.
Yeah, he's made 2 fine saves, hasn't he, really?
They've had quite good goalkeepers, Uruguay, in the last few years. Alves was the one who caught my eye in the last World Cup. I thought he was quite good. Oh, and that's could be a costly mistake. It was laid back in by Rai there, and really put some pressure on his own goalkeeper to come and effect the clearance. That's just where they do have an air of casualness sometimes about them.
Yes, they all look passing players, don't they, at the back? Certainly Carlos.
And yet there we've seen Rai superbly deliver the ball into Nielsen's path. This could be number 2. Oh dear, it didn't work out for Nielsen. We saw Rai at one end of the field almost give the ball away, and then he delivered a superb little ball to let in Nielsen. So the man has quality. That's gone out of play. Uruguay will have the throw in. Just a further thing about this fellow Rai, the number 10, the Brazilian side. He's already played 80 games in this calendar year, apparently, with the success of his club side, São Paulo, and with cup competitions, Libertadores Cup, international matches. He's played 80 games in 11 months.
Well, we better not tell the governors that run the Premier League that he's playing international football and playing quite well.
They're having an Anglo-Brazilian Cup next.
But the point I was making, John, was that at the back, when you see the Brazilian defenders, they're quite happy to knock short balls and to knock it in midfield, get it back again, and wait and be patient for the opening. They don't feel that the first ball they must look for is the longer one, the one that is easier for good defenders to handle. They keep changing the angle of the ball. See the central defenders.
That was one of them, Ronaldo, switching the point of play. And good runs made off the ball are just as important, of course, as Ronaldo has now taken up a position down the left to get involved in the move again. And then he's going to get himself cautioned for that little kick. It's a little flash of temper. He'd lost possession, and the only way he knew to take retribution was to kick the opponent.
He'd overrun the ball.
Second booking of the match, Ronaldo following Ostolaza. First time I've seen Ronaldo, who's a 27-year-old, who's been quite a regular in the side recently. Scored just 1 goal last season for his club side against the Uruguayan team Nacional. I think in the last World Cup, Ricardo Rocha and Ricardo Gomes were 2 of the centre-backs that the Brazilians had. They do seem to keep on producing players no matter what. Going further back, of course, we remember the likes of Oscar, Luisinho. So the Uruguayan free kick has found its way through to Guerra. Oh, and showing good confidence, really. All right, you might say, well, the effort was a little bit wayward in the end, a few feet too high, but at least he had the confidence to check, turn and deliver the shot.
I think so. I mean, he took it on the half turn, he took the shot fairly quickly. But that gains the momentum. The players need to see that they're having goal efforts, and it needs someone to take the bull by the horns and have an effort at goal. And so far, to be quite fair, Gilmour hasn't been really troubled. He's fielded 1 or 2 back passes, but he hasn't been troubled.
Guerra looks to be the one who might trouble him if anybody does, simply because he's the tallest and he's the one lone striker up there, but he was willing to have a go then, which is encouraging. But still Brazil leading 1-0. That ball went out of play.
Yeah, Paletti and Garcia really filling in the wide positions, so they're really playing with a bank of 5 across the middle of the field. There you see Garcia in the picture, the furthermost player, just quite content really to sit between their 2 central defenders and allow them possession, because he knows that back behind him there's 10 men waiting, a barrier of 4 and a barrier of 5 to intercept, and then they've got to break quickly. They've probably got to be more thrusting when they break. I think that certainly Deleuze has got to join in a little bit quicker, and possibly even Cabrera on the left-hand side.
But Uruguay reasonably happy, I would thought, just to be a goal down at the moment. Brazil have had a couple of good opportunities, and they bring the ball out once more with Zinha. Who's there again, so is Junior. Free kick, slightly off the ball, if anything. And Junior once more. They always look for him because they trust him, I suppose. They know he's going to do something constructive with the ball.
Absolutely, John. Players tend to pass the ball to those players that they feel confident can keep the ball.
That's a nice little pass through, and here might be a chance now for Brazil, and another second one, the outstretched boot of Nielsen, just unable to make contact. That's a foul, and this will be a free kick. But the Brazilians there might well have got a second goal. It was, we're having a look now at the challenge by Pelletti on Edmundo, which produces the free kick. But Nielsen had got into a good position in the middle. It was a lovely ball which released the player up the right-hand side. I think it was Rice pass again, and Nielsen just couldn't get there. So let's see what they've been doing in training under their coach Carlos Alberto. We always have to say this, not the, as this shot goes miles wide, not the Carlos Alberto who played in the great Brazilian World Cup winning side of 1970, but this is the Carlos Alberto Pereira who coached the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait in World Cup finals.
Yeah, he's a very experienced man. He'll be a little bit disappointed with this first half. I think that only on a couple of occasions have Brazil increased the pace enough to give the Uruguayan defence, who are very solid, a problem. It's been a sluggish first half for Brazil, really, and I sense that they need to put a little bit more effort into getting into the wide positions when they get into the midfield areas. They've got to change the pace quicker.
Now it's Uruguay's turn to come with the ball laid in by Garcia, and there might just be something here. No, it's going to be cleared calmly by Junior, who's overtaken. Perhaps the legs are just getting that little bit older and more tired. So Moran, good crunching tackle on him, still manages to squeeze a corner out of it, does he? He does. Yes, that's an example there. Junior had done well, he'd come away with the ball, but when you're 38, you haven't quite got the gallop that you had when you were 28.
And maybe the eyes in the back of the head aren't working so well, because there he was robbed from behind and he needs a call. He's coming away with the ball.
And the result was this corner for Uruguay, which is swung in deep. And a thumping shot and an equaliser from Cabrera. It's come from nothing, really. It appeared as though Brazil had nullified the situation in getting the ball out of their penalty area. But a cracking strike from Nelson Cabrera, who doesn't get many goals, but he thumped this one in and through the body of players in front of him. Maybe the goalkeeper Gilmar was a little unsighted, but from that angle it looks as though he should have done better. Yeah,
if we see it again, as the ball's headed clear, Brazil are slow to really push out and pressure the ball. They half come, and it gets a deflection there and bounces wildly, really, and it's a real problem, that ball, for Gilmar as he goes to cover it. But that's the heart that the Uruguayans need. They've defended well, they've taken the sting out the game, and just before half time they'll be the ones with their tails up, because that equaliser is hardly what they really deserve, because they have played a containing game and they haven't really gone forward and joined in. But tactically they've done well. They've left this man, the big man, up front on his own. They've settled back, they've sat back, they've allowed Brazil the possession. So far they've managed to keep the goal intact, all but that first incident in the first few minutes.
And they've got themselves an equaliser after 42 minutes as well, from Nelson Cabrera, who also played in the victory over Brazil earlier this year, so he's looking for a double today. It was a bit of a nightmare for the goalkeeper that day. It did take a deflection, and those are hard balls to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, they got the first ball away, didn't they? They should have closed the ball better. They should have closed the ball quicker.
Junior. So that's changed the complexion of the game, because Brazil at 1-0 were content to push the ball around. It's silenced some of the crowd here in Campina Grande, in the northeast of Brazil, in the Stadium Hernani Saturlo. Well, that's a great lift for Uruguay. Cabrera's goal coming on the day he wins his 13th cap. The hero of Brazil once more. And, Junior trying to be delicate. And, I think they were looking for a handball perhaps there. None forthcoming. To be fair, the referee's not had many problems in this first half. He's taken 2 names, but tempers have generally been kept in good check. Uruguay to bring the ball inside the Brazilian half again. And, again, the goalkeeper's got to be positive. He was a little bit dithery in coming from his line. I don't think he was quite sure between himself and Ronaldo what was on there.
That's a good break by Deleuze there. He made a long, strong run from the right-back position. He went into the midfield. He saw lack of numbers up front and he decided to go himself, and it was a good ball delivered by Cabrera that nearly put him in on goal there.
And it would have been such an unfair reflection of the half if Uruguay had gone in front, really. But the Brazilians can be caught. That is clear. It's 1-1 and we're inside the last 60 seconds of the first half, and this is good work. But an offside verdict. So more disappointment for the Brazilian fans who start to think about their half-time cup of tea now. Or perhaps something stronger, who knows, in South America. But it's 1-1 at the moment. Brazil having lost only once since the return of Carlos Alberto Pereira last October. And that is indeed half-time here then in the Campina Grande Stadium, with Brazil 1 having taken an early lead through Edmundo. Uruguay 1, the goal coming 3 minutes before half-time from Nelson Cabrera. Sets us up very nicely, certainly, for the second half. Brazil and Uruguay, and that's coming after the break. Welcome back to Campina Grande, where, as you can see, Brazil are making a change in their lineup for the second half. Junior has gone off, and Silas, another established international, will replace him. A reminder, it's Brazil 1, Uruguay 1. Brazil's early goal from Edmundo having been cancelled out by a strike by Cabrera just 3 minutes before half-time. Well, do you think the old legs have caught up with Junior, David?
No, I just think that it's a friendly game, and they want to see how the midfield can cope with that change. It shouldn't be too difficult. I think there in the first half, Junior was pulling the strings, but pulling them a little bit slowly.
So look out for number 19 on a Brazilian shirt. That will be Silas. Well-known figure in European circles. He played at Sporting Lisbon in Portugal. He played in Italy. He's played in 2 World Cup campaigns in the finals. And here he is now, Silas. Just dinking the ball back and then taking it again. And getting the free kick. Not much doubt about that. Conceded by Saralegui. The only one of the Uruguayan side that is currently based in Europe, Saralegui. Silas wandering in field. There's the other substitute, Nielsen. And now it's Zinho. I liked 1 or 2 of his touches. Good left foot on him, Zinho. The Brazilians have always managed to find good left-footed players. People like the great Rivellino, of course, and Eder.
Wonderful Gerson.
Absolutely, superb play. That's a nice build-up now. This is just typical of the way they started in the first half, and so close to a repeat. Well, I was almost tempted to say that lightning couldn't strike twice, but it nearly did.
That was Brazil at the best. If we could go back, if we're fortunate enough to go back, and we can't, to see the start of that move. There was possibly 7, 8, 9 consecutive passes there before they quickened the pace around the box.
Nielsen it was with the final effort, and how close. Funny that should have come in the early phases of the half, just as they scored in a similar sort of situation in the first. Now here's this big fellow, Guerra. And Uruguay would be delighted to be level at half-time, having soaked up the majority of the pressure. They did allow Brazil to play the ball around. They were quite content to let them do that. As you said very early in the commentary, David, Brazil weren't really hurting them. But then they did start to get one or two crosses in and look just fractionally more dangerous.
Yeah, they only really penetrated possibly on 3 occasions. One was that very, very fine cross, which was headed at the back post. But generally speaking, for Brazil's amount of play, they didn't have enough efforts.
Squared by Daluz. Going round in circles a little bit before Daluz picked it up once more. He's made one or two intelligent runs on his debut and whipped the ball in, and Guerra just couldn't get a neat header on it. So this will be a Brazilian goal kick. So Uruguayan football having gone under something of a traumatic time with the players' strike we referred to earlier. Brazil keen to clear their lines, and then that's wayward thinking by Zinho. He just didn't get any strength on his reverse ball, and now a free kick is conceded as well.
Very impressed by that man Daluz on the ball there, trying to turn out there. He's quick to come onto things, he joins in the play well. A really progressive, right-sided defender.
Keen to impress on his debut. Free kick for Uruguay towards the penalty spot, and positive reaction from Gilmar. Brazil's throwing. Nearly knocking one of the officials off his seat. And there you have the scoreline. Of course, these two sides due to meet again shortly in the World Cup qualifying campaign. They always seem to do, don't they? That's the problem down in South America. We always expect Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina to go through, perhaps Chile, and they do play each other a lot of times. The injury is to Jose Garcia.
And I think the Uruguayans are complaining to the referee with some justification that that was a wild tackle and over the top tackle there. Edmundo, I believe, the culprit.
And very groggily he'll get to his feet and continue to have attention on the touchline. He's staying on the field of play, so the game can go on. And this is hoisted to the edge of the Brazilian penalty area. That wasn't very impressive, nor was the ultimate strike on goal. So as I was saying, these two sides are due to meet again in the qualifiers for the United States in 1994, when they'll hope to be competing in the World Cup finals, where you come to assume that Brazil take part. They always do. Reached every single finals. And they could of course meet in the Copa America, being staged in Ecuador next year too. That's soon come round again. The Copa America staged every 2 years.
They do play a lot of football in Brazil, that's for sure. Games tomorrow night, club games, cup ties on Sunday.
And a lot of matches on the beach in the Copacabana. But for the moment we see the cat and mouse approach once more adopted by the Brazilians. The fans wanting a little bit more from them. They are at home of course in this game. David Pleat was talking earlier about the onus being on the home side. The crowd always expectant. They want a victory. But sometimes that extra pressure creates its own problem. But they are willing to keep possession and and just wait for the right moment for the rapier-like thrust, and this is good play, and into the penalty area goes Edmundo, has to take it outside again, and surrounded by blue shirts. That was good defending by Uruguay.
Very clever footwork too by Edmundo, but of course you then come up against that wall of blue defenders around that box. They're quite happy to defend there. It will have to be a piece of brilliant individual passing or a little bit of clever skill around that box for them to manoeuvre a scoring chance. They really are defending well in depth.
Siboldi, the 28-year-old goalkeeper, able to dive on the ball ultimately. He's winning his 4th cap today. Been beaten just the once so far. Reference already made to the fact that this is a friendly international, and certainly we'd expect to see a few more substitutions made during the course of the second half. Brazil already brought on Silas and Nielsen. Nielsen coming on very early in the game because of an injury to Iver, and Junior having gone off at half-time.
When they get possession, Brazil have got so much numerical superiority at the back that I think that at half-time the advice has been to Ronaldo and Valverde, don't be frightened to break out with the ball, go quickly to the midfield and try and commit someone.
And we'll see if those tactics pay off. Uruguay really struggling to get involved again in the second half. The free kick given, taken, and Silas picking it up, knocking the ball into space, and that's going to be another free kick against Guerra, who'd come back to do some defensive work. Not much doubt about that. The referee's been close to everything. Made 2 names in his book so far: Ronaldo, the tall Brazilian centre-back, and Ostalaza, the Uruguayan captain. Here is Silas. They were looking for something from him. 37 caps. 38 now, in fact. But on the halfway line is not really where they want to see him in possession. And again, this very deliberate build-up, producing a few whistles around the ground. Cesar Simpao has played the ball forward for yet another free kick, and too many stoppages for the good of the game at the moment. Silas wanted to take that one quickly. The referee wouldn't allow him, and the challenge on Rai produces yet another free kick for Brazil, which has already been taken. They are disputing possession all the time and space, Uruguay, which is what no doubt their manager says they are paid to do. And 2 of them combining there to win the ball back. And then Guerra did the job of a good centre forward, coming deep, holding the ball and laying it off. That's exactly what they wanted from him. And then Daluz reverses it. He's certainly had a good start to his international career, Daluz. Oh, and robbed out on that touchline, Ronaldo. To the cross, just that little bit too long for Guerra, but that might serve as a warning to Brazil.
Yes, you always get a feeling when they hit that deep cross in that Guerra, tall, difficult man to handle in the air, could come in on one and possibly give them a goal-scoring chance.
But for the moment, it's still Brazil 1, Uruguay 1 in Campina Grande. And that's taken the deflection needed to carry it out of play for a Brazilian corner, I would have thought, but not according to the referee, who didn't see any deflection.
As you said a moment ago, the referee's close to it. He's certainly closer than us.
And he certainly doesn't have the benefit of a monitor. One wonders if the day will ever come when referees will be running around with monitors in their pockets. It's happening in cricket these days.
Well, a very vibrant ex-chairman of my club suggested time clocks, video replays.
Far-sighted chairman.
Commercial breaks, artificial pitches.
Not the game as we know it.
Home supporters only.
And that one did cause a lot of controversy. So here we have Brazil and Uruguay deadlocked for the moment. And the Brazilian Valber on the ball. I'm all for innovation, but not too much at once, I think. And there was an attempt at innovative football from the Brazilians there, but again, the Uruguayans getting so many men behind the ball. They found it very difficult to break them down, and this fella Guerra seems to be coming back and winning the ball in defence in this half as well. Brazilians don't mind about that. Well, they can hit those sort of shots from distance. We all know about that. That one didn't find a way through from Silas, but it has produced a corner this time.
Quite impressed with Zinzo whenever he gets possession. There's the man with the ball now. He's just made a good break into the box. He's hit a fierce right foot shot. He's really a left-footed player. He's got a good eye for a pass too.
And he can take a corner, as he does now, and under some pressure, the goalkeeper Siboldi got his fingers to it. He did well. Did all that was asked of him. There's a nice ball laid to the edge of the area, but I think it was big Ronaldo had got up there. He couldn't win it. Then Guerra going for it couldn't do likewise for Uruguay. And Ronaldo is now on the ball in more familiar guise in central defence. Vink. From Valber, forward again for Silas, and then for Ronaldo. Interesting to count the number of passes they do put together here. 4, 5, before they get a free kick for that particular challenge by Eber Moas, the Independiente player, already taken that free kick. But if you look in that picture now, there are at least 6, if not 7 blue shirts. And there was probably only one Brazilian shirt in the picture at the time.
They really do protect their centre-backs. Moas, who's basically a right-footed player, though he sits on the left-hand side of Sanchez in the centre of defence. Moran and Ostolaza, Scalugi, they really defend well in front of those centre-backs, really, and it's a good base to play. They probably need a bit more thrust when they break out.
But they'll be happy enough at 1-1 at the moment, as Brazil do get the ball into the Uruguayan penalty area, and then it drifts out harmlessly, except the referee decided it was a corner this time. Well, a few moments ago he gave a goal kick when we thought it was a corner. Everybody let that one go out assuming it was a goal kick, so he gave the corner.
As I said, John, he's closer than you.
It certainly is. It's a Brazilian corner, we can tell you that. And this time the goalkeeper flapped a little bit, and he's got to get himself up from a prone position, and does so well. He did very well really there, because he'd flapped just a little bit. It was not an easy ball for him to confront. He got it out of the danger zone, and then when it came back in, he had to climb to his feet quickly to keep this header out.
Excellent save. But really, when that ball is returned there, they should have been out. I think it was Deleuze. The ball should have been pressured. Deleuze is left on the line. There you see him on the line. Unfortunately for him, Sivaldi makes a fine save in front of him. But a good organised side. As soon as that ball's played away, they pressure the ball. They're immediately out there, giving the goalkeeper more room to come and collect.
Sibaldi's handling generally has been good in this match.
He's played first class.
You would not fault the goalkeeper. As I said earlier, he kept a clean sheet against Argentina recently, and he's been beaten only once today, and not since the 3rd minute. Now here's that man Eduardo, and they were trying to play the close passing game, and it just broke down on the edge of the area, and Uruguay have been able to bring it out, and that's good play. Well done by Moran, and now Pelletti, he plays for Huracan in Argentina, so he's an experienced player and quite gifted too. Walter Pelletti had a spell in Spain with Castellón as well. Uruguay's throw in, and touchline Samba, they were in tune, the substitutes. They were both Brazilian. It looked as though we might see Palinha or Vitor soon.
I love the way Brazil get on with the game when a free kick's been given. Put the ball down, immediately in possession, off they go.
You can catch the opposition out that way. They've been known to do that. That's well won back by Saralegui. And that's going to be a free kick for the body check by Simpao. Cesar Simpao, the 24-year-old Palmeiras player, who made his debut against the rest of the world in the match to commemorate Pele's 50th birthday. And in goes that big fella Guerra again to try and win it for Uruguay. Brazil have done enough to bring it out, though it will be it's going to be a Brazilian throw-in.
You sense, for all his lumbering, loping look, that Guerra could be a danger. That when Uruguay wish to break out, they've always got that longer ball to be able to hit him or to be able to cause a problem for a knockdown for a colleague. The biggest problem they've got is when they're defending, they can't get a midfield player close enough to him to pick up the pieces.
Well, Guerra was the third top goal scorer in Argentine football last season. He got 15 for Gimnasia, so he knows the way to go, although he struggled a bit this season. The man creating a bit of a fuss, edge of the Uruguayan penalty area, is Edmundo, the 21-year-old from Vasco da Gama, who got the game off to a great start for his side, for Brazil. Well taken goal it was, since when Uruguay have pegged it back.
Looks a fine player to me, this one. He can twist, he can turn, he's got pace on the run, and he looks for a shot too. At 21, I'm sure we're going to hear something of him.
Only winning his third cap as well. I think the other thing to be said about this game is that the surface has been good, and that encourages good football. They've been able to play the ball along the ground to feet. Now Edmundo holding it up, Silas with the ball in, plucked out by Siboldi. It's one of the few occasions where somebody's got round the back of the defence to ply a ball in like that.
Yeah, it's so hard to hit the byline in modern day football because defenders force you inside, so sometimes you've got to overload in the wide position and try and get a 2v1 situation. They got it there, but unfortunately for Brazil the cross just wasn't good enough and Siboldi made a good interception.
Still then Brazil 1, Uruguay 1 in Campina Grande, which is in the Paraíba state in the northeast of Brazil. And we apologise for the slight problem we have on your picture at the moment. It's not your eyes letting you down. The line signal coming in from Brazil is the one that is posing the problems for us, but I hope you can see that a substitution is being made, and Zinho, David Pleat's friend, has just gone off. Also Vito on for... Oh, and the ball in the net! Well, that's come out of nothing in Uruguay, and that man we were talking about, Guerra, has poached a goal for Uruguay to give them the lead. We were talking about the substitutions there, and while all that was happening, Guerra somehow stole in. He got in round the back of Ronaldo, simply stuck out his foot, and the ball is in the Brazilian net for the second time.
Well, it's a good header down by Garcia, wasn't it, from that deep cross, but Guerra pulled away there and just got in front. Very poor defending in the air by Brazil. Very poor defending indeed, and there's Guerra first to the ball, and he's just flicked it round there.
And you can gauge the reaction of the fans. Apologies again for the break-up in your picture quality. Confirmation that Vito has replaced Luis Carlos Vinc. But the most important thing that has happened is that Hugo Guerra has scored his first international goal, and Brazil now trail in front of their own supporters. It's not a position that's familiar to them.
No, it would be unkind to say that it'll make Brazil thrust forward, particularly in overload in the wide positions, and might make the game a shade more exciting. Brazil have got to do something now. The crowd are getting on their backs. They've been a little bit frustrated with the way they've been playing for the last 15-20 minutes. The Uruguayan defence has really made certain that they haven't got chances.
This is Palinha, who's coming on to replace Cesar Simpao now. So plenty of changes being made by Carlos Alberto Pereira. But are they going to be effective? Can they alter the course of the game? It's Uruguay looking again there, edge of the penalty area. Pelletti got in, Guerra got in, and Brazil got the ball out. They do so again now from the foot of Roberto Carlos. That was a strong run made by Elivelton. Yet another substitute who's come on amidst all the mayhem. Oh, nice little bit of skill along the touchline by Edmundo, along the dead ball line, and I think there's going to be a yellow card shown. It's been shown to Nelson Cabrera. Not sure it was worth that, but one was given. And Brazil, what a good position to have a free kick in. They're looking for the equaliser following Cabrera's cautioning. It was very delicate work by Edmundo to produce this free kick, very confident work in a tight area. So Rai playing the ball in and straight up in the air, knocked out, and not very convincingly, so Silas is able to lay it back, and the thumping shot that comes in is high and wide.
Well, that was a good effort there. I think it was from Carlos. Good drive from the edge of the box, just over. There you see, plenty of bodies there, and as the ball comes out, early shot, not a bad effort that.
He's another one who's only 19 and plays for not one of the biggest clubs. He plays for a club outside of the top division, plays for Sao João. He's already winning his 7th cap at the age of 19.
Well, I think he's defended well today. He's been right tight to Pelletti whenever he's picked up the ball. He tackles toughly, he's got a good left foot. So in the United States, in less than 2 years' time, we might be hearing more about him as well. Brazil have to qualify first. I think they might do that. Although, in world football in general, it's getting tougher and tougher. The big clubs don't automatically get through anymore. Here's good work. And that's a nice turn by Edmundo as well. He held that one up beautifully. And then the cross ball in. Has there been a bit of a panic, and the shot blocked immediately, and again the Uruguayans getting a lot of bodies around, and as Nielsen tried to get through, the ball squirted away and is gratefully fallen on by Siboldi. That was really great blocking there. What a tremendous block that was.
Ostelaza.
Tremendous.
He's a big fella, Ostelaza. 30 years of age, got booked in the first half, not setting a captain's example, but there he did do. Just had to get the body in the way, and he was there very sharply, wasn't he? Again, I hope the odd break-up in your picture isn't spoiling your enjoyment of this encounter in South America. It's Brazil 1, Uruguay 2. And Brazil staring a home defeat in the face for the first time in 7 years. That's an extraordinary statistic. They haven't been beaten yet, though. Oh, dearie me. Not a good challenge on Vitor by Marcelo Saralegui. That is Vitor, the 20-year-old fullback from Sao Paulo, who's come on and made his debut here as an international now. But in these sort of internationals, the managers are really looking to establish patterns of play and to bring on players into the international scene, perhaps more than the result sometimes. That again was Roberto Carlos getting a shot in. I think that's fair comment.
Well, they take lessons back from every game, of course. You can see the intricate passing ability of the Brazilians, particularly around the box. They've scored their first goal and their only goal as a result of that. But the deep defence of the Uruguayans has posed them a problem, and they can't throw that ball into the box. They haven't got a big guy, and you've seen the efforts that Guerra's had for Uruguay, and you have to say, not in the most delicate of fashions, but he's been the difference at this moment between the two sides.
And it's Guerra's side, which has Uruguay leading by 2-1, as the Uruguayans look as though they're going to have to make their first substitution. Interesting, really, that Luis Cubilha has decided to stick with the players who started the game, whereas the Brazilians have already made 5 changes. Well, it's amazing, isn't it? You always have an entourage of medical men on the pitch, but it does look as though they are going to have to make a substitution. I think it was Moran who was injured, but I don't think he's coming off.
I think the crowd see the funny side of that.
Well, yeah, just hitching a ride. And he has come off. I think he might be back on before long. Good catch. He's not missed a thing, really.
No, we can mark him down.
Not at fault with the goal, and has since kept extremely well. Uruguay competing well too. They've competed right from the word go. They've obviously come here with a bit between the teeth. Of course, they love nothing better than to beat either Brazil or Argentina, who are supposedly their superiors in many, many ways. There's so many more players to choose from. It is remarkable how Uruguay have maintained their consistency at the highest level in football from such a small population.
Yeah, 2.5 million people. It is quite inconceivable, really, their success at international level in soccer.
And this time it is a free kick for them.
Have to say how well Garcia's worked on the wide left-hand side of that almost 5-man Uruguayan midfield. He's done very well. He's been quick to support.
In fact, it was his knockdown that produced the goal for Guerra too, so he can take credit for that. Cabrera's goal 3 minutes before half-time and Guerra's goal 20 minutes into the second half mean that Uruguay lead 2-1 here against Brazil. And they're on the attack once more, edge of the area. He just panicked momentarily. That one is laid straight into the arms of Gilmar, the Flamengo goalkeeper. Silas, who started wide on the right and has since drifted into a midfield position. Vitor has moved out there now. Oh, and here might be a problem. It's turned back by Rai, and then the cross in, acrobatically thumped out by Siboldi. I think that was perhaps a bit dramatic, a bit theatrical, but it's led to a break all right. And this is good. On he goes, and he just lost his stride really. Almost got a second chance, but he's a very willing workhorse, this fellow.
That was a great break out there by Saralegi there. He really stormed on from the midfield. He could really have opened up the Brazilian defence there.
And it all came from the punch out of Siboldi, the goalkeeper, which I thought at the time was a bit over dramatic, but he did the job.
Well, over dramatic or unorthodox, whatever it was, he does the job because he clears the ball high and that buys time.
And talking of time, Uruguay have 15 or 20 minutes left in which to hang on to this 2-1 advantage that they have. And this will be regarded as a famous victory for them if they get it in Brazil. And oh, that's a difficult one, and that's a curious effort in so many ways. It might have been Paulinho who had the shot, and Siboldi almost caught off his line. He may just have got a finger to that and touched it against the crossbar, so let's give him the credit as well. Here's danger. Did that go out of play? I fancy it did. If not, it's a goal line clearance, so in fact it didn't. So 2 dramatic escapes for Uruguay in the space of a minute there. Siboldi flicking one against the crossbar, and then the second effort cleared off the line. Yes, it was kept in play. That was beyond Siboldi, and then hacked away off the line. So the Uruguayans, give them credit once more, getting defenders in where it counts.
Well, that was a magnificent cross, approaching the left-hand byline at pace. Tremendous cross there, and also a good effort. There's the ball that hits the bar. Was that meant?
Yes, and I think it touched his fingers on the way out, not on the way in. Brazil have a free kick, which has not yet been taken. This was the sort of situation where you used to fancy the likes of Eder and Rivellino. Another yellow card has been shown to one of the protesting Uruguayans. Could have been any one of 3 or 4 there. So what can they do? They're 2-1 down. And for prestige point of view, they wanted something rather better than that. That might have counted at the Parc des Princes, but it didn't count here. Garcia it was, confirmation there, who is the latest to be cautioned by the referee, Jose Clivaldo. Well, Uruguay have held on manfully, and they have got bodies around the ball. There was that moment a few minutes ago where Ostelaza in particular setting a really inspiring captain's example by getting at a very brave and timely tackle, a blocking tackle. And while they've not shown a great deal in attack, they'll be very pleased, I imagine, with the commitment and the passion they've shown for the cause. Certain amount of luck involved in any game, and the Brazilians perhaps haven't had their share in this second half. A couple of good chances, hit the bar, but you've got to take them.
Now one has to say on reflection that Sivaldi has earned his spurs tonight, whereas at the other end Gilmore has had very little to do.
That's right, but he's picked the ball out of his net twice.
But tactically, Uruguay have been very good.
And their substitute there, number 14, is Carlos Sanchez from Peñarol, one of the more famous Uruguayan clubs, and it looks as though he's about to come on for what would be his second international appearance. His debut was against Brazil in April, when Uruguay won then by 1-0, so I suppose that they're becoming a little bit of an Achilles heel for Carlos Alberto Pereira if they win this one, and they've about 5 minutes left in which to achieve that notable double. And on comes that substitute, Carlos Sanchez. The player who's gone off is Jose Garcia. So Brazil looking for some late inspiration to prevent the humiliation of defeat, which is what it'll be seen as by some of their supporters. It's all regarded as part of the build-up for the Copa America and the next World Cup, of course. This for both these nations, both struggling in tough financial times, climate not really conducive to football, as is the case in so many countries at the moment. One wonders where the game is going. But for the moment it's Uruguay who are the happier of these two, leading by 2-1, and that one's not going to prove to be a problem for Sibaldi.
Brazil getting frustrated now. No channels to play the ball into. The Uruguayans retreating, covering all the spaces.
I suppose one very difficult problem for the Brazilian coach, Carlos Alberto Pereira, is that so many of his top players are based in Europe. He virtually can put out two different teams. You know, if the Carecas and the Bebetos were available to him, a lot of these players wouldn't even be in the team.
Yes, I think this is kind of a promising 11. It's for the manager to look and see who's got the mentality, the physical capability, and most important, the pure ability to play at the highest level to win again a World Cup for Brazil. And I've certainly been very impressed with a couple of them today. I think Edmundo has done good work on the right. Zinho on the left has got a nice left foot and plays the ball early. No one doubts Silas's ability, and Carlos too has performed well from the left back position. So there'll be some good points as well for Brazil to take out of it, or at least for the management and the coaching staff. It is a friendly, and a manager and a coach will stress that it's for their benefit. They have to see things, they have to learn from it. Of course the crowd get restless, they only want to see a win.
First signs of one or two people drifting away from the stadium, perhaps sensing that this is not going to be Brazil's day, that they are about to suffer that first home defeat since 1985. At Uruguay, if you were looking for the pluses on their side, for their coach Luis Cubilha, I would say certainly he'll be delighted with the work of Hugo Guerra, who looks to have been the man to have got the winning goal.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. He doesn't look really an athletic, delicate player in any way, but I've just felt all along that as a release ball, he's caused them problems in the air. I certainly think, as I'm sure all the viewers have seen, Sivaldi's played a very competent and highly capable performance. He's handled the cross as well. He's come out to the edge of his box quickly. He's been a superb last line of defence. And I think that Sanchez and Moas at the back look real strong defenders. And as Uruguay have always defended well as a national side, we've seen that in World Cups.
A few moments ago we saw a nice bit of skill from Hector Moran as well, the player who looked as though he was going to go off a few minutes ago on a trolley. He came back on and he showed some lovely skill there. He's won the corner kick, and Uruguay still leading 2-1 and looking for a third one maybe. And the shot raining in from Saralegui, much too high, much too wide, but he won't mind about that. It's out of play. By the time the ball is retrieved, a few more precious seconds will have been wasted. Well, there is a trophy on offer at the end of this game, friendly or not. They always like to have a trophy at the end of the day. It's the Copa November, perhaps. On the ball is Silas. Not been able to just find that penetrative ball through, as Ronaldo tries to hit one now, and that wasn't a bad effort either. And it's charged down there, but it's run through to Siboldi, and you just get the feeling things aren't happening for Brazil. There's not a great deal of conviction, and there will not be any more either. The Uruguayan arms are raised in triumph. They've taken the victory here by 2-1, and that's a shock to the Brazilian system, especially after Edmundo had given them a dream of a start. That man, Robert Siboldi, in the Uruguayan goal, has been beaten only on that one occasion, while at the other end goals from Cabrera and Guerra have won the day. There was a dramatic moment in this second half when Brazil might have got an equaliser, but they failed to do so, and all credit really to the way that Uruguay have hung on here. This was one of the best moves throughout the entire game, and then that effort from Palhinha cleared off the line, and so it's Uruguay who step forward to receive a trophy for their victory here over Brazil by 2-1. From David Fleet and myself, John Holm, I hope you've enjoyed our coverage from Campina Grande. There it is, there is the trophy. Uruguay have beaten Brazil for the second time this year, and we're going to leave you with the goals that have won them the day. Goodbye for now.